From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your afternoon update.
Hello everyone, and happy 4th of July to you all. You know, if you're out on your celebrations throughout the day today and you want to know what the weather is going to be like, you got an hour-by-hour forecast from the free Weather NorCal app. One of the things I want you to remember is, unlike a lot of other apps out there, this one is, I actually have a say in what a lot of these numbers are. You know, some of it is computer generated. There are a lot of areas for me to have to cover, but a lot of the bigger areas do get generated forecast, and it all goes right there in the app. It all goes consistently. What you see here on this weather update, in the app, online, it all works beautifully together. So check it out. Search for Weather NorCal in your app store, and then download it for free. Check it out. I think you'll like it. Let's get into the weather headlines. And I do want to mention that this is going to be kind of a quick and easy, not a whole lot of coverage on the Thompson fire, the fires in general, unless we see some major changes here. But we'll probably have a more detailed fire weather outlook and what's going on with the fires here later on this evening for the 6 o'clock evening forecast, okay? All right, so here's what we got here for today. The heat wave will extend well into next week. This is something I've been advertising all week long so far. Expect record-breaking heat, warm overnight lows. Now the fire danger, even though it's decreasing, it's still going to be high because the winds are dying down. That's great, but it's still very hot and it's still very dry out there as well. So we've got really that to contend with here. That's what the firefighters have to contend with as well. So you can see your neighborhood forecast at a glance, 110 degrees or higher for the valley. Temperatures in the 70s for the coast. That's where you can go to cool off. But I think I saw someone post on Facebook, even 72 is hot. For Eureka or the coast, right? So, I mean, yes, everyone is being impacted by this heat wave in some shape or form. All right, if you're heading out to the Freedom Festival at the Civic Auditorium, 8 o'clock tonight, still, 8 o'clock tonight, it's 106 degrees. So that's what I'm talking about. You need to be prepared for the heat. Okay, 9 p.m., still 96. By around the time the fireworks start, it'll be about 91 degrees. Of course, we got the clear skies out there. If you're heading out to Eureka, Humboldt Bay at 10 o'clock, well, of course, that's where you have the cooler temperatures. Mostly clear skies. Temperatures should be in the low 60s for that 4th of July celebration and the fireworks. And in Mount Shasta, of course, at Lake Siskiyou at dusk, it will be smoky, but no need to worry. That smoke should at least start to kind of clear out by the time we do start the fireworks here at 10 o'clock. At Lake Siskiyou, so be sure to check that out. All right, let's take a look at the smoke forecast, okay? So this is what we're talking about here. Of course, you've got the Shelley fire in western Siskiyou County, and you've got the Thompson fire. These are going to be the two main smoke producers for Northern California here throughout the day today, and not to mention tomorrow. Now, most of the smoke will be in the vicinity of where that fire is, so places like Etna, Mount Shasta, right? I think you'll see some of that smoke here later on this afternoon and evening. It'll push closer to Quincy, not so much in Chico. Paradise, I think you may see some of that smoke as well and some of that haze. That's today at 5 o'clock. All right, let's take it about 7 p.m. Again, you see how we're seeing that smoke around Mount Shasta. Then we go to about 10 p.m. when the fireworks start. Now most of that smoke is pushing south of Mount Shasta, so that's pretty good. But of course, that smoke just kind of hovering between Chico and Quincy is what we're looking at right there, not to mention the Oroville area as well. Etna and Scott Valley, you're seeing a lot of that smoke too. By midnight tonight, around Scott Valley, you're seeing that smoke, more in the way of haze around Chico. Let's take you into Friday morning. We're seeing a little bit of haze and some smoke from the Shelley fire in northern Trinity County. Even places like Weaverville may see some of that haze and smoke, but maybe some light haze for other parts of the valley because we're getting the combination of the two, right? They're kind of joining together for parts of the valley, so that's going to give us maybe a better chance for seeing kind of that little bit of that orange glow. As we go into 5 p.m. tomorrow, yeah, again, a little bit of that haze, a Shelley fire trying to bring some smoke down into the Redding area. Not as much smoke coming in from, of course, by the way, this smoke forecast will really, truly depend on just how active the fires get, right? You can see a plume of smoke by Friday night. that could approach the Reading area. So again, these are all things that will probably change in the days to come. It just kind of give you a general idea. You don't need to be surprised if you start to smell some smoke or at least see some haze out there. There's a fire potential today. It went from W is the wind, right, to H. Now remember the last few days, the W was there. I said, for all intents and purposes, it should be hot and dry as well. Well, now that the winds are gone, this particular map is now showing hot and dry conditions. So that's going to keep that fire danger in that high range here as we go into Friday. And quite honestly, that should probably extend into Saturday as well, but for now it's in that moderate risk, but that may change, even going into Sunday. Now the winds, not as much of a problem today, right? Instead of the 20 to 30 mile an hour winds, more like 10 to 15. That's still a little stronger than I think the firefighters would like, but at least we're not looking at any major wind events in the next couple of days. Same story as we go into Friday with those winds as well. So we take a look at the fire weather risk. Remember the last few days, we were in those deep reds, even getting close to purple. Not the case here for today. Again, it is within the high to very high range, right, that we're seeing in the valley. But another thing to take note is the mountains are seeing the moderate to high risk here. And in fact, it looks like that danger will get even higher for Friday. Why? Well, probably the temperatures are going to be a bit warmer. So as a result, we're getting in the high to very high to close to the extreme category. And especially where we maybe see some of those winds a little bit stronger for some of those foothill higher elevations in the foothills. And then of course, you've got the moderate to high in the higher elevations. It's getting that time of the year. Now the mountains are getting caught up in this as well. Shelley Fire, the example right there. We saw it pop up yesterday, and it's going to be an issue for the next several days, right? Of course, with the smoke too. Big ridge of high pressure. That's what's, of course, the big story here. That's going to keep us under excessive heat warnings and heat advisories, mainly through Tuesday. And that may even extend longer because this heat wave is going to stick around for a while. And this is impacting the entire West Coast in the form of excessive heat watch, excessive heat warnings, and heat advisories all up and down the West Coast. This is a big heat wave, folks, and unprecedented. We're going to be looking at record-breaking temperatures all up and down the coast, including us. All right, so there is that heat. Now, one of the good things with this dome of high pressure moving closer to us and getting closer to being on top of us is the fact that it's allowing the winds that are right here that were on top of us the last few days. So now that's shifted more to the east, so that should help with our fire danger. But again, it's still very hot and dry. But the bad from that is the fact that that dome of heat will be right on top of us. As you get that dome of high pressure right on top of you, that's where you have the hottest temperatures. The outer perimeter of that, not as hot, but still very hot nonetheless. Now we can thank partially this area of low pressure right here for helping kind of push this and nudge it eastward, because as we go into Sunday, now it's down to the south of us. So again, the center of the dome, not on top of us, so it's going to be very hot in Southern California. We're in the outer perimeter of that, so it won't be as hot. Temperature will get a little bit of relief, a little bit, but still very hot nonetheless. And here's the thing. This ridge of high pressure persists and hangs out just to our east through pretty much all of next week. So again, we're in the outer perimeter of that dome, but it's still going to be very hot even through the end of next week. Eventually, we should start to see this kind of push a little bit more to the east. We'll see the temperatures kind of relax a little bit. But bottom line, even going beyond next Friday, it still looks to be rather hot. So here's what it looks like today. We can see some record-breaking temperatures and 110 degrees, give or take, for most of us in the valley. Mainly 90s for the higher elevations. Places like Mount Shasta, 100 degrees. There you can see in Trinity County, well over 100. And along the coast, we're getting into the 70s for those daytime highs. So looking at that 7-day outlook, bottom line, it's hot. Any way you look at it, for the valley, temperatures peak on Saturday, and then they start to dip a little bit. That little bit of relief. 118, by the way, is the all-time high for Reading. We couldn't possibly meet that on Saturday. It's going to be close. It'll be borderline. We'll see, though. But temperatures do drop 4 degrees, then another degree, then another couple of degrees. So we're shaving off a few degrees almost every day after Saturday, but we've got a lot to shave off from 118. So that's why it's still going to be pretty darn hot as we go through next week. Taking a look at the coast, we're in the 70s through Sunday, but should see those 60s return by early next week. But triple digits most likely for the inland areas, even through the middle of next week, and even for places like Weaverville as well. How about Mount Shasta? Yeah, you're at 100 degrees today, and you should stay above 100 degrees here even through Wednesday of next week. Got the hazy skies in there for your Friday. By the way, could be later in the day here for Mount Shasta. But El Turris, you're going to be kind of hovering around that upper 90s to lower 100s. And then for Susanville, temperatures today, you could touch 100 degrees here, but for the most part, you should stay right around 100 degrees today. Temperatures rising even more Friday, even more on Saturday, staying over 100 degrees as we go through the middle of next week.
Let nothing stand between you and the tree stand with this great offer on the fast, durable Kubota Sidekick. Featuring a gas-powered engine that delivers a top speed of 40 miles per hour, outstanding acceleration and handling with cargo, and a 2-year, 1,000-hour warranty. Get the Sidekick now for 0 down, 0% APR for 36 months or save $1,000.
Tractors, trailers, rentals.
You do it all, we do it local.